Hey everyone, welcome back to Autocar Professionals POV, our explainer series where we break down the biggest shifts in the global automotive industry from an Indian lens. Nothing excites the auto industry quite like a tax cut. Prices fall, showrooms get busier again, and buyers suddenly feel like they've got a little extra room in their budget. With GST 2.0, small cars have become more affordable, bigger SUVs are seeing mixed effects, and dealers, well, they are facing some unexpected challenges. But here's the bigger question on everyone's mind. Are we looking at a temporary festive spark, or is it a beginning of a sustained growth journey under GST 2.0? Let's find out. Under the next generation reforms for GST, small cars with engine capacity not exceeding 1200cc for petrol and 1500cc for diesel and with length under 4 meters will now be in the 18% slab against 28% cess earlier. Bigger cars will be taxed at 40% as against 28% with the additional compensation cess of 17 to 22%. That was the case earlier. Now, for the consumer, if you calculate the average fall in GST rates plus the ongoing festive sales promotions, the effective immediate benefit will be around 15%. In a few weeks after the dust settles in, the benefits are expected to moderate at around 8 to 9%. So, the cuts are delivering a short-term demand boost, yes. The real test will be whether this momentum sustains for the long term. Historically, tax cuts have been a powerful lever to boost demand. Remember 2008 when excise duties were cut, the industry saw demand jump by about 20 to 27%. But here's the nuance. The impact isn't uniform across all segments. For premium cars, buyers aren't too worried about the base price. Instead, they often use the tax benefit to move up to higher variants. In the mid-segment, which is cars priced around 10 to 15 lakh, buyers see this as an opportunity to upgrade or in some cases even buy an additional car. But at the entry level, where affordability is the king, demand is most price sensitive. Even the small reduction translates to a big demand boost. On an average, demand rises about 1.4 to 1.5 times the net price change wherever tax cuts kick in. The real demand picture will emerge only after the festive season. Why? Because right now, sales numbers also include pent-up demand from the August-September festive run-up. We'll also likely see a December sales surge just before the traditional January price hike, often announced by the OEMs. Those hikes will be a reality check, showing us how much demand is organic and how much was simply just triggered by discounts and tax cuts. As you might have heard, this might be the best time for buyers since one has all the reasons to grab these great deals. But dealers are unfortunately the ones caught in the storm. They have nearly 2,500 crores of unutilized cess credits stuck in their GST ledgers. With GST 2.0, that cess is gone. Dealers had already paid the cess upfront to OEMs expecting to recover it from customers, but with the cess scrapped now, that mechanism has vanished overnight. And because inventories are high during the festive season, they borrowed more working capital, making the financial stress worse. There is a fear that smaller dealers with weaker balance sheets may not survive this if there's no resolution soon. Now, let's talk about the big picture. Between 2018 and 2025, India's auto industry grew at around 4% annually. That's below the historical average of around 6 to 6.5%. The growth has slowed. With GST 2.0, optimistic projections suggest that CAGR could rise back to 5 to 6%. That could mean India's auto market hits 6 million units by 2030. So yes, tax cuts could nudge growth back towards healthier levels, but they are not the magic bullet. India remains a highly taxed auto market even with GST cuts. And while tax policy can stimulate demand, long-term growth will also depend on multiple factors. There's emission and safety norms, India's multi-fuel powertrain strategy, shifting consumer demographics, and of course, the global economic cycles. These are the unknown unknowns that could reshape the trajectory. So, what will be the real impact of GST 2.0? In the short term, demand is already up and customers are smiling. In the medium term, we'll know after the January price hikes. In the long term though, GST cuts could push growth back to 5 to 6% CAGR, but structural factors will play a bigger role than tax cuts alone. That's it for this POV. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more deep dives into the trends shaping India's auto future. See you next time.